Nigga in the game. My fault, little technical. There we go. My B. My B, bro. Sometimes, you're going to have resistance in life. Sometimes, you feel me? Because I need this to record. I need to be able to access this afterwards. But it wasn't letting me. It was just giving me the sound like I was still on. But, all right, we back, y'all. We Gucci. God is good, though, man. And all in all, what I was saying before I even get into the idea of legacy was the things that we sow in our lives. It may seem harmless. It may seem unintentional, or that it don't have no inflections. But I mean, the things we do in this realm, that's biblically proportioned. Like the things we do, the seeds we sow on earth is the seeds we're gonna sow in heaven. And the seeds we don't sow on earth is the seeds we won't sow in heaven. Like, so I look at that inversely too, because he's the God of all. He's universal. So when he's telling me that, I look at that and take that, and I also say, oh, the seeds that I sow in myself, like righteously, not wickedly, my offspring will feel that. My immediate family will feel that. Like before a seed is even involved. But then the seeds that I don't sow, oh yeah, my family gonna feel that too. And literally, who we are is an amalgamation of the seeds we've sown versus the seeds we haven't. And in whomever aspect or realm is taking precedence over our life is the inflection that we'll have upon our life. So let me do that one simpler. If I'm pouring more into the things I don't do, as opposed to the things that I do, my life is gonna reflect it. That's why I love to see a man that's like got a frame to him, or because I just know what it takes to like be in the gym. Like even when I see niggas in the gym and they not necessarily there, I'm still like, man, God bless them, bro, because I know how much it takes to get up and put them damn shoes on, bro. So I know how much it takes, bro. So even if you here and you not necessarily there, you gonna get there one day, like, because that resilience enough is enough for me to like heap praise on you, or heap glory or grace. Like, nah, you got this, bro. Like, and it's just something to that. I always tell men this too, like, bro, it's not just that you look a certain type of way when you work out and you cut or you da. It's a reflection of the inner man. It's a reflection of the inner man. It's like before, I never, like, people would tell me like, oh, you smart or da. Now, it's like, I love the man that you are. Like, you gotta kind of use the word as a reflection too. Not definitively, but it's a good reference point. You're not seeking soul validation from the world, but it's a good confirmation. It's a good confirmation that it's saying the things that you wanted to say as opposed to the things you wouldn't want it to say necessarily. Now, when we go seeking identification in that aspect, that becomes a problem. That definitely becomes a problem. You got that's where solitude comes in at, because you become able, it's an ability to affirm yourself. That's an ability. Like literally even being born, you're born into, and this really isn't even true for every single person, but let's say ideally, structurally, societally, structurally, you got mommy and daddy, and they're the ones that you come into it with affirmation. You get what I'm trying to say? So then now it becomes an ability to affirm ourselves. And that's the turning point. Like, that's when you bend a corner. You literally bend a corner in your own existence. When it's like, oh no, I'm cool with who I am. Because I'm not going to get another me. So the me that he gave me, bro, I'm going to put this on it. I'm going to put that on. Not necessarily brands, but I'm going to put so much good on it. Man, I'm going to wear this me. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm going to wear it. Like, I'm gonna go in on this me. Like I'm gonna exploit everything that this me has to offer in this world. Like I'm gonna get all of me out of me. I'm gonna wring the towel dry. Ain't no gonna be a drip of nothing off of that. So let's get into the idea of legacy. Building something that outlives you. And before we do, this is important too, bro. Like before you could, I'm not even going to necessarily say before because it could happen outside of that. But I would implore you, I would behoove you that to at least attempt to understand or believe in the notion that when you improve you, everything else around you going to improve. So when I saw when the seeking was seeking after, let's say, $1 million, but it's not rooted in anything. I just want, nigga, I'm out here doing anything, nigga. I'm out here wilding. But then the idea is that, yes, he's calling me to increase. Yes, he's calling me to, but in increase is a responsibility too. Like to whom much is given. You get what I'm trying to say? So even before we could think about all this generational wealth, generational, you gotta do it like this. Start from the inside out. And then do it to where I want to start with bestowing a good character. I want to, before I do wills, before I do this gonna go to this kid, this gonna go, before I even get into the idea of extending financially in the earthly realm, I need to bestow seeds upon them that will grow into fruitful trees for the rest of their days. Then from there, once you master that, it's like, think about it like this. When you think about generational wealth, like you could have money that would last you for the rest of your life, right? But then your kids will still kind of have to like figure it out a little bit at least. But then you could have money that'll last you for the rest of your life and your kids for the rest of their life, right? But then their kids will have to figure it out. Then you can have money that lasts you, your kids, and your grandkids for the entirety of your lives. Then their children have to figure it out. So you won't hit any form of ineptitude, ideally, until your great-grandchildren. I'm just saying that level of wealth, right? But what better is to feed you than to teach you how to fish, right? So before I even get into the idea, legacy, and what I'm trying to do is draw us to a higher perspective that the fruits of the inner is what creates the fruits of the outer. So even if I bestow unto this child or unto my legacy, because let's say it's not even necessarily unto a child, but your legacy is now other CEOs have to come in and run your corporation once you die. That's legacy too. Like Tim Cook coming in after Steve Jobs is legacy. But then we've got to imagine to what degree, if the only seeds that we've sown is in the earthly realm, is of tangible items, like I could give this child a car, I could give this, and I'm using the child as a framework for a structure or a framework for a conceptuality, but it's a thing that's broad and universal. So apply it as you may. But what is, it's like the word says, like, what's better to gain the world but to lose your soul? Like, what's the point of it, nigga? Like, you can't even, like, he said he leadeth me to the still waters, bro. He made me to lie in green pastures. So now if I'm gaining outside of that will for my life, bro, what is the point? I can't even really, because now you did it. What was the point? Now you Diddy, bro. Now you Kels. What was the point, bro? What kingdoms are we creating? And what seeds are we sowing into that kingdom? What was the point, nigga? You's a dummy. Like, what was the point, bro? If we gain anything outside of the will of the Lord, what was the point of gaining it? You don't think all of this is going to have an inflection of how his kids is going to have to live? How their kids is going to have to live? It's going to be smut on his name for the rest of eternity. I don't care what lawyer, what Johnny Cochran, what. Look at how until OJ died, we ain't let that joint live down. Until he died. We say, yo, you know that nigga killed that. You know that nigga killed her, didn't you? Like, we did not let that joint live down at all. You know he killed her, didn't you? So we can veil it and Johnny Cochran our way through life, or we could sow the right seeds, nigga, and raise good children, or raise good businesses, or raise good ideas, or raise good investments. You see how I told you it's applicable elsewhere? Man, that bank account like a baby. That business like a baby. That baby like a baby. He's calling us to be a shepherd for a reason. Like, look at how, sit with King David, bro. Cause you seeing yourself in your shepherd self, but you're not realizing how the Lord is calling you to be a king. You just seeing shepherd you, but you're not realizing how shepherd translates into the herder of sheep. What he tell you? You're a fisherman, but I'm gonna teach you how to fish men. Ugh. That's a bar. So you a shepherd, yeah, but I'm gonna teach you how to herd men for real. I'm gonna teach you how to lead with dominion and sovereignty for real. But who more than the one whom has dominion over sovereignty than to teach you dominion over sovereignty? Who better than that one right there? So when we rooted in a life that's purpose-based, like we gonna see it, like in the world, in the word, we gonna see examples where stray offs happen, but it's just about being on your journey, bro. Nobody asked you to be perfect. Nobody called you to be perfect, but you were called to do a thing. So you either sit with that as a realization, as a conclusionary standpoint. No, nothing left to be said. Conclusionary. The conclusion is you're here for a reason. Now, how do I pursue that reason holistically? Because there's a thing that I do that I was supposed to do that only I do. And when I do that thing, like how I do that thing, can't nobody touch me when I do that thing. What is the thing? And then do it unto God. And then your children's children gonna reap. So we talking about, I still ain't even reference my notes. Like, we talking about legacy. It's really not, it's one of those things where it's not, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple, the thought of it, but the application is like, okay, let's really lock in. When you start living a life that's outside of yourself, but then you get strength from outside of yourself. Think about quantum entanglement. Think about quantum physics. How two separate things, two separate beings, two separate entities can exist, can coexist through separation geographically, proximity-wise, and still be affected from whatever region. So I would like to believe in the belief of quantum physics, of quantum entanglement, that there's a version of myself existing in other sphere, in other verse, in multiverse. There's a higher me and a lower me. There's a lesser me and a greater me. There's a past me and a future me. And which me do I choose to lean into? The calling of my higher self, or the lowly nature of my lower self, the animalistic nature of my lower self? Like, you could go anywhere with it. You want to go sacred geometry with it? Let's go sacred geometry. If you want to go chakra based, Ayurvedic, let's go Ayurvedic. You can go anywhere with it, and it's still gonna scream God. You want to do the chakra animalistic lower self and the godly, or your lower carnal self, or the godly Christ consciousness? So when we talk about legacy, it before I even go into, yeah, you gotta have this money invested so that you can get, man, fuck all that. Invest in your heart. Invest in your mind. Invest in your spirit. And as you increase, the reality around you will increase. You know that sometimes there's certain things that I don't even have to necessarily say, just because, like, who I been able to, or who I've developed myself into being, and presenting that version of myself in the world, there's just certain things that just come with that. I'm not even saying like in an egotistical way. I'm saying like there's just a certain level of respect that comes with it. There's a certain level of sir. People sir me when they see me. That's a new thing. And I ain't mad at it. You know, I ain't gonna correct you either. You goddamn Skippy. King is next. I'm working on that. Like I'm transitioning. I'm transitioning. We got the sir down. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm trying to master king. Like, how do I present myself in the way where it's like king? Yes, king sir. So before I even get into like financial seeds, I know we talking pillars, so finance matters. Yo, sow seeds unto yourself. When you increase yourself, your legacy is yourself. Like I want it to be where this is what I be thinking in my head. I want it to be where like my great grandkids, they have like, there's like a picture of me in their hallway, in their mansion, in their vast hallway. And there's like this 100 by 100 picture of me like looking super regal. And then they're telling their kids stories about how I may have lived my life. And how in living my life like that, open doors and pathways and lamps unto their life. Man, that's a character thing, bro. That's a character thing, bro. That gotta even matter to you. Because I've seen it to where men have built these great kingdoms on earth, but because they never sown seeds into their heart or mind, only unto the dollar, now once it comes time to be a man of old age, they can't do it with grace. They still old and tricking off. Like I'm talking about like 70s, 80s. And it's not a transition into like shepherding or like kingship or like just sitting back as a king and watching like the next come in, like the holistic, graceful lineage of passing the torch. It's like this weird, I'm so of the earth that now the earth has consumed my earthly nature and I can't do nothing with it. I done made all this money, but I can't necessarily do anything with it. I can spend, but if all of my purpose wasn't making the money, now I have it. But if my purpose was for, like how we mentioned earlier, breaking generational curses, like we mentioned earlier, generational wealth, like we mentioned earlier, accessing the fullness of self, because what else are we here for? That's a fundamental truth. So then from that point, we sit with that idea, we break down the fruits of the spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, kindness, grace, acceptance. I'm missing some. Self-love. When you build on that as a foundationary standpoint, you know exactly who you are. You tap into exactly who you are. You live through exactly who you are. And you gain through exactly who you are. You begin to earn through exactly who you are. You create through exactly who you are. That within itself is circumstances for a perpetual life of legacy. You are legacy. Like the way you carry your life is legacy, nigga. You're not even in certain environments because you want to live to see the day. You don't even do certain things because you want to live to see the day in your own measure. Because you still croak tomorrow if it's God's will. But in your own measure, I ain't going to put myself in the way of croaking. I want to live to see the day. So I'm only using that as an example. Like your entire life becomes you live a legacy-based life. You live a philosophy-driven life. You live a principle-based life. You live a purpose-oriented life. All that you have made yourself up to be is legacy. So before I even get into the cute, like before I do that joint with you, I'm not going to do that joint with you. I'm going to tell you that you are the legacy. And the idea is that we're approaching a thing, we're approaching our purpose, we're approaching our calling, but we're doing that schematically. We're doing that blueprint based, not as a fool. Schematically. Like, okay, I know I was called to do a thing. Here's the system that I'm going to orient around doing that thing. Man, prayer. Man, isolation. Man, reading, writing, gaining insight, gaining wisdom, trying, earning, learning, mistaking, pruning, all of these little verbs. And through that nature right there, man, you fall clean into legacy. You fall clean into it. You live a righteous life. I don't mean be perfect, but you live a righteous life, bro, as far as your measure can take it. And where your measure stops is exactly where God can. So then it's still our responsibility to be like, yo, God, I'm weak here, bro. I can't right here, God. I do it in plain joints too. If it's traffic in the street and I get agitated, I'm calling unto God. Little small Jones. He said that he wants to reign over every aspect of my life, in the big and the small. So I'm giving him the big and the small. So exactly where I can't is where big homie take over. And when big homie take over, he actually teaching me how to do so myself. So that eventually it's not Google Gaga no more, and it's full on dialogue and conversation with the Lord. I'm using that metaphorically. So like at a certain point, we go from Google Gaga with our walk with God, with our crawl with God, then you start walking with God. Then you start running with God. Then you start leaping with God. Then you start flying with God. Oh. Just saying, like, it's a calling, bro. And answer it. Call of Duty is your Call of Duty to answer. It's nobody else's. Get in the gym. Why? Because gym is gonna refine your mind, body, and spirit. It's a literal battleground happening right here. Refine it, discipline it, whip it into shape. Beat the submission beat the flesh into submission, bro. I'm talking about beat it, bro. Like, do squats until your legs is trembling, nigga. Until you crying. Access something. Find it. Like, that's what I'm always telling myself. Man, you better find it. You better think about something painful. Because what's going to hurt more? Life or this gym? The crucible. The gauntlet. What do you want to hurt more? I heard this saying once, like, it's either the suffering from discipline or the suffering from regret. But you're going to suffer. Suffering is not a choice. You're going to choose which type of suffering you're going to want. It's the suffering that you self-inflict, which is discipline-based, or the suffering that because of your lack of self-infliction, now you suffer regret. Get in the books. Why? Because the books is going to reinforce a certain mentality. It's going to concrete a certain mentality. Refine your body. Why? Because that's going to sharpen you in the battleground. Because all things unto the kingdom, right? So it's all spiritual warfare, bro. So I'm not in here to be cute, nigga. I'm not in here to be cute. I'm here because I'm tearing Jones down. I'm tearing walls down inside of myself. That's why I look like I'm losing my mind in that corner, curling them joints like that. Because I'm here, but I'm completely elsewhere. I'm completely elsewhere. Casting it out. Clean out. Let's go. Purification. That's why I treat it like that, bro. It's covenant. It's covenant. If he bestowed it onto you and it's an understanding of higher transmission, it becomes covenant. You know how when you say you know better, you do better? Covenant. Covenant. He said, I'm going to circumcise all the men. Covenant. Because when you know better, you do better. Now you move like this, everybody's going to move like this. Because now it's a higher level. That higher level, we're going to term it as covenant. Spiritual contract, spiritual understanding, spiritual lock-in with the Lord. So when I'm approaching my fitness journey, bro, I don't give no damn about being cute. The inner world, the inner fruits should reflect the outer. It should be a reflection of the outer. Mind, body, spirit. There's a refinement of our spiritual nature that needs to take process. And guess what? I'm saying it needs to take process because it never stops. So I can be assumptive or presumptive in my approach by saying it needs reproach without even knowing. or not even necessarily not knowing you, but not knowing like your specific joint that you're going through right now. Because at every moment, every turn, when there's a new you, there's a new level, and then it uncovers all kind of newness, spectrum based though, good newness, bad newness, and at every point in our life, we're called to increase. At every point, we'll always be in search and yearn of the thing that we are to fulfill, and it's in our search that we accomplish, not in anything else. That's why they say that it's the journey, not the destination. Because truly, do we ever really hit the destination? You're not supposed to. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. Like the destination should be so, and I'm saying you're not supposed to because the destination should be so far from fathomable imagination that in your yearning for it, in your search for it, you got to climb such a tall ladder that really it's the accomplishments of how high you go along that ladder. Like LeBron told himself, I want to be the greatest basketball player of all time. This is making it plain. Let's put the concept in motion. LeBron told himself he wanted to be the greatest basketball player of all time. Now you have to do so many things that in your climbing of that ladder, we're actually going to revere you for the accomplishments of climbing the ladder, not necessarily reaching the top of the ladder. Because whether he gets 6, 10, 5 million rings, people are going to feel how they feel. And at the end of the day, LeBron's still going to be that nigga at the end of the day. So there's a phenomenon there. There's a aspect-based phenomenon where we could approach it as we're a failure because we setting out to do a certain thing. Or you could say, my pursuit is the accomplishment. My journey is the accomplishment. My step forward is the accomplishment. And instead of regarding myself as to the destination, I will now regard myself as to every pinpoint, every point A to point B, every step on that ladder that I have made ascending to the kingdom of heaven. In all things, in the works that we do in our earthly selves, in the businesses that we create, in the art that we make, in the shirts that we create, in the little canvas that we might paint on, in the mood boards that we might make, in all things we see the highest form of expression. And in that seeking, in the pursuit of the seeking, is not only where we find ourselves, but we find grace, we find love, and we find acceptance because we see a completely different self outside of ourselves because we sought something greater than ourselves. Now you're like, wow, who would have thought? Who'd have thunk it? So love yourself for the who'd have thunk it aspect as opposed for hating yourself for what you feel you haven't accomplished. It's the ladder. It's Jacob's ladder of transmutation. That's sacred geometry. That's come on now. Jacob's ladder, that's alchemy. He said, I saw angels ascending unto the heavens and coming down and up from the heavens. He's teaching us the framework for ourselves. Kundalini energy. Now I'm going Ayurvedic. Kundalini, as the snake rises, our spinal fluid rises to our cerebellum and activates the third eye. Christ consciousness, lower animalistic self, spinal fluid raises to the cerebellum as the king cobra raises and flares the hood and then activates the third eye, activates the consciousness. It's about up. Seek first the kingdom of heaven and all these things shall be added unto you. It's about up. Just come up, my nigga. Just come up. Whatever you're doing, do up. Whatever it is, the highest expression. However you, highest. Up. One. Up. Up full. Everything up. And it'll be added unto you, bro. God bless you. I love y'all niggas, man. Kill it this week. And know that there's so much ordainment, bro. Let him be a lamp. Cause we don't know what we doing. And it's okay. Cause we're not supposed to. There's a thing that we're doing. There's a script that we're acting out. He didn't need you to create the script. He just needed you to play it out. There's a through line in all of humanity that calls to the Lord. It calls to God. And we're a part of that calling. We're a part of his plan. And in that, he's gonna do great things with you. Lock in, nigga. Why are you playing with it, bro? This is the creator of the world. This is the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. That's calling unto you, little bitty old us, crying out, yearning out to have a relationship. Yo, I love you. You're my son. He's good. He's good always. He's good always. Lock in, y'all. Amen.